This DualSense controller from Hex Gaming doesn't only look amazing, but it is packed with features that will enhance the way you play games forever. With 4 back paddles, digital triggers, and so much more, it just has to be the perfect controller out there. But can it really be as good as it seems? Well, when I first received the controller, I was nothing but impressed. It arrived about a week after ordering the custom built option, and the box came very well protected. It looks great too. Upon opening the box, you'll find the controller itself wrapped in additional packaging to ensure it doesn't get damaged when shipped to you. But wow, when I first slid this controller out, I literally screamed in shock at how beautiful it is.
That looks gorgeous.
Also in the box, you will find a warranty card, a quick start guide, and even some additional thumbsticks of different shapes and sizes in the compartment on the side. Anyways, going back to the actual controller, let's begin by admiring its design. When building it on Hex Gaming's site, there are an absolute ton of customizations that can be made to the shell color, the buttons, touchpad, thumbsticks, bottom cover, and even the back. These options range from matte colors and patterns to chrome colors, glossy patterns, and even translucent options. I personally went for the blue nebula pattern mixed with chrome silver on other elements of the controller, which I love, and it matches my whole setup really well. It completely outshines a regular DualSense too. That's what's so great about the level of customization that Hex Gaming has to offer. You can truly make it your own. I mean, you can even get metal buttons. There are some great presets on the site as well for you to choose from, and if you want a pre-built option, you can even get those from Amazon. If you turn my controller over to the back, you can see I chose to pair my space-themed front with a rubberized grip option in black. This rubberized grip is built straight into the controller, so it isn't ever going to rub off. It looks really nice too and genuinely feels amazing to hold. I've had this controller for over a month, so it's been through hours of use, and the grip is just as amazing as when I first got it. If you ever feel your controller slipping around in your hands, then this grip will so easily solve that. Also on the back of the controller are 4 back buttons, which I chose to be black to match its grip. These buttons are programmable to any of the main face buttons, the thumbsticks, and the bumpers and triggers. To enter the remap mode, you just have to hold down this small button in the middle of the back paddles for 3 seconds. You then see a red light come on to confirm that you are in the back paddle settings mode. Whilst the red light is on, hold down which of the 4 paddles you want to assign a button to at the same time as the button you want to map to it. The red light will flash 3 times to confirm the mapping. If you wish to map another button to another paddle, then hold the paddle and button you want to be mapped to it simultaneously once again. If you ever want to start completely afresh, you can unassign every paddle by holding L1, R1, triangle, circle, up and left all at the same time for 3 seconds. When you are happy with the mappings, you can hold down the same button we used to enter remap mode for another 3 seconds. The red light should then turn off, showing that you have left the remapping mode and are ready to play some games. Now, esports shooters are where this controller can really shine, as having the paddles can seriously elevate your skill level across the board. If I'm to use Call of Duty or Fortnite as an example, I like to have cross, circle, triangle and square mapped to these back paddles. That lets me jump, reload, switch weapons and slide etc, all without taking my thumbs off of the thumbsticks. Therefore, my aim can remain perfectly steady, as I'm not having to stretch my aiming thumb up to the face buttons if I want to jump or something. How useful does that sound? If you want to get better at shooters or even just games in general, then the paddles on the Hex Gaming Ultimate controller are an absolute must. Another game-changing feature of this controller are the digital triggers. When you play a game with a regular DualSense controller, R2 and L2 have to be pushed quite far down until any input is registered, and the same sort of goes for R1 and L1. As a result, if you have a manual weapon in hand, spamming the trigger can take quite some time, especially if you compare that to the likes of a mouse PC players use. To counter this, the Hex Gaming controller has an option for digital triggers, meaning that you only need to tap them, just like you do with a computer mouse. Consequently, spamming a weapon with these triggers is so much easier, and you'll be able to fire any sort of weapon prior to your opponent. Pair this with a great reaction time, and you're going to be unstoppable. The only downside to these digital triggers are that they unfortunately take away from racing games, as acceleration will constantly be at the maximum. Furthermore, the fancy adaptive trigger system will be missing, so for any games that really utilize adaptive triggers, you won't experience the effects. However, that's why the digital triggers are a completely optional feature. When building your controller, you can choose whether you want them or not, though I would recommend you do get them. It's not like you won't be able to use a controller that came with a console if you switch over to a racer or want to feel the adaptive trigger system. Or you could even order 2 Hex Gaming controllers if your budget allows it, one with and one without. Going back to the front of the controller, as mentioned earlier, you can swap out the thumbsticks with the 3 other types included in the box. Taking the thumbsticks off of the controller is immensely simple too. You just pull beneath the dome of a stick so it clicks off, and that's it. You then have the option to swap it with either a longer concave stick, or a medium dome stick, or a longer dome stick. The concave shape is most similar to the default DualSense sticks, as they dip in and provide extra grip, whilst the dome shape can be better if you want as much control as possible. Personally, I find I have the most control over my aim if I have a tall dome stick in use on R3, as there's a larger pivot from the base of the thumbstick, but this is certainly different for everyone. Oh, and something you might notice here is that yes, you can also change the colour of the thumbstick base. I chose glossy blue to match the overall colour scheme of the controller material type. Speaking of the materials used, are they actually any good, and is the controller durable? As a disclaimer, this particular controller was kindly sent to me for free from Hex Gaming a month prior to me making this video, but all opinions are my own. Hex Gaming have not told me what to say about this product at all, and I'm not being paid to create this video. As I've only used the controller for just over a month, I cannot say if it lasts for years, but I can say that I've noticed no signs of degradation in the month I've had it, which is definitely promising for the future. In fact, the only thing I have noticed is that the glossy material is a fingerprint magnet, but I went for the chrome options knowing this would be probable. In addition, I have noticed some very minor scratches on the touchpad, which are likely a result of me swiping around on it in the last month. But again, this is not Hex's fault in the slightest, it's just how a glossy surface is going to react to general wear and tear when you are swiping around on it. All 4 back paddles feel exactly the same as when I received the controller still, battery life isn't really any different from your regular controller, and all rubber parts of the controller are identical to when I received it. For instance, all sets of thumbsticks are in mint condition and are yet to show any signs of peeling. All of this is highly impressive to me, as I've had very different experience in the past with other pro controller companies. To be completely honest with you, there's only one thing that I really dislike about the controller, and that's a side effect of its biggest strength, the back paddles. As these 4 extra buttons stick out of the back of the controller, it means it's unable to sit on the official DualSense charging dock, which is hugely disappointing for me. I love always knowing my controllers are charged and ready to go, and the dock does that really well and tidily. On the other hand, if having to use a cable to charge it is the only downside to getting all these other features, then oh, it is so worth it. And I can exclusively reveal that Hex Gaming are working on another controller that won't even have this as a problem. I still just cannot stress enough how much I love the visual design options for the Hex Gaming Ultimate controller, as well as the interchangeable sticks, back paddles and digital triggers. If you're interested in a pro controller for PS5 or PC, then this is the way to go right now, so head on over to Hex Gaming's website and build your own today. The Ultimate controller starts at a minimum of $199, but the price will increase as you change build materials, etc. So if you want a 5% discount on your purchase, make sure to use code Octorious at checkout, or just use the links in the description. And whilst you're on a controller customization streak, watch a video on screen to see how you can light up the buttons on your regular DualSense. It's so easy.